Hello, good evening and welcome to PITS to Podiums, our exclusive season coverage of the JK Tyre Volkswagen Vento Cup 2015. After completing 5 successful seasons of Volkswagen Polo Cup India, we are all set for some neck-to-neck, bumper-to-bumper action in the very first season of the all-new Vento Cup motor racing. Now, Volkswagen over a period of time has not just redefined motor racing in India, but also provided racing enthusiasts a huge opportunity and platform to hone their skills. We are all set for a joyride, which is equally challenging, and to give us more perspective into this, we are joined in the studio by Sirish Vissa, the head of Volkswagen Motorsport India. Sirish, thank you so much for your company. We're looking forward to your perspective as well on the show. And I must admit that Volkswagen is shifting gears pretty well, gone to a higher gear from the Polo R Cup now. You have the Vento Cup motor racing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big change for us. We had 5 very good years with the Polo, and it was time for us to make a change. And what better tool, should we say, to use than a car which was designed for India. So the Vento was designed for India specifically, and so when we were looking at it, this fit the bill because it's a longer car, which is better for us when we are trying to work on driver skill and improve their ability to drive the car quickly. So yeah, it was a big change, and best part about it was all of it was done in-house here in Pune.
How the idea of motor racing for Volkswagen in India, how did it all begin?
See, basically for us, motor racing actually is in our DNA at Volkswagen. Okay, we've been involved in motorsport now for over 4 decades, or 5 decades, I should say, internationally. And so when we came into India, we are the newest player in the market, and for us, what makes a Volkswagen is the fact that it is extremely robust, it's very safe, and it's fun to drive. And so all of these characteristics, the best way we can sort of show them to the world is going motor racing.
See, to me, I mean, I'm used to seeing Volkswagen on the road because, we see a lot of them driven by the common man. Now, all of a sudden, to see a Vento car on the racetrack, could you just try to bring in more perspective into that?
Yeah, see, basically the Vento that we run on the racetrack starts off the same way the car that you or I can buy from the showroom starts off. And when it gets to the point where the car is completely assembled, before it goes into paint, we sort of take it away from the assembly line into our facility, where we go through and strengthen the car a little bit with extra additional welding, and also we put in the roll cage, which is required for us from a safety point of view. And we put in the seats and the seat belts and all of this stuff. Of course, the big thing for us that's different from the regular road cars is the heart of the car is different. We have a 1.4 TSI engine, and which we don't sell in the market yet in India. But that's something that we needed to get a little bit more power, and it's coupled to a nice 6-speed gearbox. So it's a unique package.
But your association as well with JK Tyre Motor Racing, I mean, how's that come along over a period of time? We get to see many participants this time around, a lot of participation over the years, and y'all have also now been pioneers in your own way after 5 successful years with the Polo R. Now you have the Vento. JK Tyre has been there for a very long time. What's it been like?
So yeah, with JK Tyre, it's been a phenomenal partnership with them. They've been running the JK Racing Championship now for about 18 years. We've been a part of it for the last, this will be the 6th year. And the best part about it is that both of us are looking towards growing motorsport in India. Normally we usually used to run grids of around 18 cars, but this year we have 21 cars, and we actually had to turn down a few other drivers who were interested, which is a very, very, very good thing for us. It shows that the sport is growing, the interest is growing. It's truly a partnership with JK Tyre, and both of us work together in terms of making the event happen. And when we look at the crowds that we end up getting at the Budh International Circuit, where we have like 25,000 plus people there in the stands.
Wow.
It's a testament to the efforts that the entire team puts together, which is the combined efforts of JK and Volkswagen, and we're happy to see that.
Right, so Sirish, evidently it's a wonderful partnership that's growing between Volkswagen and JK Tyres as well. So let's get a perspective from a good friend of yours as well, Sanjay Sharma. He's the head of Motorsport JK Tyre and Industries Limited. Mr. Sanjay Sharma, thank you for joining us firstly.
Lovely, great to be here.
Right, motor racing has been, JK Tyre Motor Racing has been around for many years now. You have been the pioneers. How much has motor racing grown as a professional sport today, Mr. Sharma?
Well, it's been almost over 2 decades that we've been at it, so we can't be complaining. But obviously, last 4-5 years, with 2 big things happening to Indian motorsport. One was the F1 coming to India, and obviously before that was an auto major like Volkswagen bringing in a lot of changes, bringing in a lot of good practices. So I always say like last 5 years have been the turning point. And today, if we compare ourselves with whatever we're doing in this country, with what others are doing, we are at par with the world. And that has obviously taken us 2 decades to come where we are.
Also, your association with Volkswagen Motorsports, has it helped JK Tyre as well when staging these championships?
Of course. In fact, I don't know if you're aware that this Volkswagen Motorsport came to India before the Volkswagen came to India, because we had done our own research, and I had gone because I felt that this was one company which was practicing the sport globally and were practicing at the grassroots level. And this is what was most required at that given time here back home in India. And we had approached them, and it was great that everything fell in place. And so, as they say, rest is history.
Oh, absolutely. It's like Sanjay said. We've worked very hard together to make this happen, and we couldn't do it. At Volkswagen without the support of JK.
What's the vision right now, gentlemen?
It's very simple, my dear. We have taken a lot of time in getting the infrastructure in place. Volkswagen has brought that influx of technology that is in place. Now we have a program where where the kids are adopted at the age of 8, and then they go through the paces from karting to national racing to international racing. And unlike previous years when Naren Karthikeyan peaked when he was 25 or Karun Chandok peaked at 22, 23, now we have kids who are going and making a mark for themselves when they are 15 or 16, like for reference Arjun Mani. So things are in place. Now the only last part is packaging, is communicating to the world, is connecting the sport to a common man, because it is still perceived as a sport for the rich, which it is not anymore. But perceptions we can't change. We need to work on changing these perceptions. And last but not the least is to keep on adding better technologies where Volkswagen obviously has a role to play.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjay Sharma, for your time. It's great to know that the association is only building over a period of time, and we look forward to more racers in the country as well. Right, talking about the Vento Cup that is currently underway, one must admit that it's a challenging season, Sirish. It's a long schedule as well, and who better to give us perspective and lowdown into the kind of challenges the racers are up for the coming days?
It actually starts off at the beginning of the year. We started off in February with our driver selection, and then we went on to have a pre-season test and a driver training session, and then we have 4 race weekends. So the 4 rounds are in August, September, October and November. And so we've got basically the first 2 rounds are at Curry Motor Speedway, where we have our first 2 races on the 8th and 9th of August.
Right.
And then the round 2, which is the 5th and 6th of September, again we have race number 3 of the season on the 5th and race 4 on the 6th. Then we go on to do the final 2 weekends at Delhi. So round 3 is 17th and 18th, the race weekends, races. On Saturday we have 1 race, on Sunday we have 2 races at Delhi. And same thing, round 4, 28th and 29th of November. We've got again race number 8 on the 28th and race 9 and 10 on the 29th.
Wow, that's a lot of racing time, and we've got to talk about the tracks as well. Now that we've spoken about the schedule, we've got to see 2 tracks over there. One is the Curry Motor Speedway in Coimbatore, and of course the Buddh International Circuit.
Yeah.
Now, what are the big differences between the 2 tracks? Is it a vast difference, a huge difference?
It's a night and day difference. It's a night and day difference because the Curry Motor Speedway is a very tight, twisty track that is very unforgiving. So you make a mistake and you'll get bitten.
Right.
Okay? And but the best part about Curry is that you've got a lot of very quick left-right combinations. You've got a phenomenal last corner which brings you onto the very long straight over there. So it is quite tricky for the drivers to learn.
Right.
And then you go on from there to Budh, which is the opposite extreme. It's a Formula One track.
Right.
It's more than double the length. And the best part about Budh is it's very wide open. So in fact, it's a different challenge because the drivers now have to learn where the proper racing line is, because the track is so wide. You have many different ways you can go around a corner. So they have to try and figure out what the optimal way is.
Right, we got to look forward to a lot of it in the coming days, but for the moment we need to head into a very short break. But when we come back on the other side, we will take a look at the contenders for this season's Volkswagen Vento Cup, the 21 drivers who will be fighting really hard in their road to glory. Stay tuned, much more on the other side, don't go anywhere.